This is your weekly real estate update for the greater Portland, Maine area. These are closed sales in the last 7 days, median numbers. So days on market went down quite a bit to 13 days on market. The list to sale ratio back at 100%. So if you listed your house in the greater Portland area in the last 30 or 40 days, you probably got pretty close to what you were asking for it. Our median sold price was back up to $502,000. The average 30-year fixed dropped quite a bit to 6.8%. And of course, the year-over-year annual US inflation at 3%. So this week, I want to talk about is your perspective skewed by COVID? And I want to look at that with days on market, list to sale ratio, and offers received. So is the way that we're expecting things as a seller and sometimes as a buyer skewed by this extreme COVID experience we all had in the last 5+ years? And we're going to look at those numbers one at a time. So the first one is days on market. So before COVID, at the beginning of COVID, the average days on market was 35 days on market. The low for COVID was 14, average was 19, and we're now at 36. And if you look back before COVID to 2016 up to 2000, right at the beginning of COVID, we were looking at 72 median days on market. So right now, 36 feels like a long time if you've been conditioned by that COVID 14 to 19 days. But historically and in the last 2 decades, 36 days on market, a pretty reasonable amount of time to be on the market. Now let's look at the list to sale ratio, or percent over asking. So during COVID, the percentage of offers that closed over the list price peaked at 61%. The average was 43. Almost half of people were getting more than they asked on their house, right? But right now we're at 16%, which again is really close to that historical average. So during COVID, you might have been skewed by expecting things. More than half of people were getting back to you and saying, oh yeah, my house went way over the list price. More than half of people, right? Not typical historically, not typical the last 2 decades, just a COVID skewed perspective. And then the last thing we're going to look at is offers received. So you put something on the market today and people still have that feeling of, oh yeah, we should get, 5, 10, 15 offers on this house. During COVID, the height, 5.5 average offers received on a home. And then the average over the whole period was 3.8. And right now we're still at 2.7 per house. And that is still considerably higher than the average in the last 10 years, which was 1.7. So again, this whole conversation is about, is your perspective as especially a seller, but a little bit of buyer, skewed by the COVID experience? Are you expecting too many offers for what is really typical? Are you expecting fewer days on market than what is typical? And are you expecting stuff to go way over the list price more than what is typical in a more standard seasonal market, which is what we're now hopefully entering? Hope this was good for you. Hope you learned something. Have a great week. Let me know if you have any questions.